So let's get started. If you join me on my website, and go to the community tab and go to the Discord server link, you can join me for the December Draw an Elf in December prompt list sketch challenge thing. And basically what it is it's just drawing elves. It's just sketching elves. And one sketch that I wanted to show you is my Sketchtember challenge from my Sketchtember PSD file. And one of them was just whittling. And this is kind of the format that we're doing it. This is the one that I wanted to show you guys. I'm always drawing elves. There will always be elves in my gallery. And really all the sketches are just like this. It's just a really, really low pressure sketch challenge, and you can combine too. Like you can do tinkering elf and elf in winter boots in the same drawing. You can do a fire elf and glowing elf in the same challenge. You can do elf riding a stag in the snow and long-eared elf in the same challenge. So it's the same sketch, so you don't have to just do this many. You don't have to be restricted to this many. You can do more. You can split one up into two. It's really just up to you. So like elf studying a map and a tinkering elf, and then with a reference, and it'll just look something for me a little bit like this, just sketching, no pressure, no creative pressure, just finding good references. And that's really the key. Reference helps you zone in on the design without having to mentally manifest every facet of the design. It does a lot of the thinking for you, and so all you have to do is piggyback off of it. That's how every artist ever, from Frazetta to Da Vinci, used references, and that's how you're supposed to. And I invite you guys to join me for the sketch challenge on my Discord server, and you can do that again by going to istebrak.com, clicking the community tab, and clicking here to join the Discord server. Of course there's my store, my masterclass, which I'll talk about today, and Portrait Studio, and everything else will be on a 55% off sale for December, starting in the 20th. So look out for that. If you're about to buy it, just wait. Hopefully you saw this in time. Just give it a moment, and in a week and a half or so, it'll be on sale for way, way less, and you can save some money. And please consider joining as a patron. If you guys are learning something from my channel, if it's beneficial in any way, I'm not asking for a lot back, and everything is free, but there is a request for support for whoever wants to offer it, and it's just $1 a month. And that's why I call the $1 tier the watcher tier, because it makes all the difference for the community. $1 is a very untraceable amount. For those who want to give back in some way, a sustainable amount that lasts a very long time is $1. And that's the one I'm always requesting. And that's it for announcements. Let's get started on today's critique. So this person used my masterclass, actually. And my masterclass, what is it about, really? It's just painting a portrait from front view. That's all it's about. But sometimes, even if you have a masterclass, you'll make mistakes, because the point of the 14-day challenge, as I mentioned last class, is repetition. So if you're not repeating, and you're not watching out for the pitfalls of where you might fail, which is not getting critique and not doing a whole new portrait every time, you might accidentally not improve. You might reach a point where you've plateaued. Plateau is very scary, but you don't have to experience it. It's not your future doom. It's not the destiny of every artist to plateau. You just have to keep pushing yourself, and you push yourself by finding where you made mistakes, and you might find mistakes through other people's eyes. They'll tell you where you made those mistakes, and try as you may, no matter how good you are, sometimes you get stuck, and you just can't see it. All of us have experienced this. That's just what it is, having a brain. That's just what it is, being human and trying to learn something and learn it in a short period of time. It takes a lot of repetition, guidance, and practice. Sometimes just getting another person's, but cooperating with another brain. It's really just, it's amazing. Critique is amazing for every school of thought. But like cooperating with another brain really makes all the difference. So the reason why I start off with a sphere in the masterclass is because obviously I want to make sure your core shadows are intact. And all things considered, this person's core shadow looks great. But the problem is that you kept it looking too much like a sphere. There is a point in the masterclass where I start enlarging the cranium, start squaring it off, And that's really it. We're seeing such a big difference in the anatomy. Before, it kind of looked a little bit deformed, and after. Before and after. Before and after. And then I'm just going to add in some last little highlighter points. I feel like you're ready for these. Good control on your midtones, really good control over everything else. In this masterclass, you get a whole list of notes. Like you get 7,000, 8,000 words, I believe, if I remember correctly. And it's all just a list of which brushstrokes to put where. It's foolproof. And anyone can do it, and all you have to do is memorize this list of anatomically sound brushstrokes. And then you can customize your face to anything. You can paint any face, referenced or unreferenced. Mostly unreferenced because you're learning the mechanics outside of subject. And then when you want to start adding reference is when you want to start creating more realistic, organic looking faces. I put all of my love and effort into that class, and I made sure that it was taught in a way that it was taught for students. It wasn't taught to try to sound smart and difficult to understand. It was taught in your language. It is the most beginner friendly tutorial because it is speaking directly in your language. It explains why the brushstroke is going there, and it explains in a really quick way how to put the brushstroke there. Wherever there is, wherever there ends up being. I'm just blending this. I'm going to try to look at a lot of pieces today. This isn't the only piece I'll look at. All right. And then I'm just going to take a look at the before and after now. Before, after, before, after. So you can see how your shadow, you just had too much. This is what it means to have students. They kind of do things in a crude way first until they learn how to do it in a more graceful way. So when you tell them do radial shading around the mouth, they'll do it, and they'll do it well, but they started out way too far. So it just looks like she ate chocolate cake really, really fast. Do you see that? She was really hungry. And then after, we want that radial shading to stay, but we don't want to look at a big discoloration mark in the middle of the face reaching out. So it looks like really big indentations instead of just a lip wrinkle or a lip dimple. So before, after, the head size, the cranium, the shadow on the sides of the nose. Amazing job so far. Keep going. You can introduce some minor referencing here and there to help you generate a more organic face. But look at you. You drew a face. You took it on. It's not a very short tutorial either. It's many steps and lots of words, and it's a masterclass. It includes everything you need. And it's not just beginner friendly. It's good for all skill levels. It offers something to every skill level. And if you haven't already, thank you for purchasing it. I hope you guys find it useful. I'm going to take a look at this one, which is really close to what we just looked at, which is cranial size. And what I want to do is just leave it in this general place for you for just a little bit, and then flip back to where it was, and you'll see how extremely short and low that head was. And this is what happens when you don't do studies that correct this type of mistake early on in the process. So we see now what happens when you turn a study into a more complete illustration, and how mistakes you might have made as a beginner stay as mistakes you make when you're trying to do more professional stuff. When I tell a student, when they ask me in turn, okay, so what are the fundamentals? I'll just list some really simple rules, and then they'll say, okay, those are too simple to be the fundamentals. Those are way too simple to be the things causing this much trouble. So students are laboring under the illusion that fundamental means complex rules that are hidden in this covert Illuminati style dungeon somewhere surrounded by guards with chokers or something, and they all have machine guns and they look like Resident Evil zombies. It's not. It's the really simple stuff. The magic is in the repetition. The magic is in the physics, the simplicity. That's why it's hidden. Simple is easy to hide, and that's why they seem so covert, little hidden arcane knowledge or something like that. And they are, because the simplicity hides very well. And that's why it's so hard to grasp for some of you, that all it took was a better core shadow, simple measurement, and that's it. You were expecting some great lesson or fundamental epiphany or something like that. And the only epiphany you need to know is that, you know, this basic stuff is really simple and really easy to grasp as long as you're repeating and understanding that they're consistent. Before, after. You chopped his head off like that girl from Kill Bill. Right, so before, after, and then just flatten that. Everyone who posts on the subreddit is waiting for a critique, and I like to sometimes stop and just give the studiers some attention. Oh, this is the day one. This person, okay, I recognize you now. Holy crap, you did such a huge jump. I didn't know this was you. I think I critiqued you. So this is their day one. This is their day 12. The improvement is just, it's obvious. It's right there. Look at the inversion of the shadow on the head. Look at the contrast control around the eyes. The fact that we can see who this character is. But they've got a much further to go, but they've come so far. And that's because of what they're doing in this community, which is they're providing their work for critique, and they are giving so much critique, like they are commenting so much and helping others, and I'm loving what I'm seeing, and this is exactly how you're supposed to be involved in a community. Again, knowledge is not possible in a vacuum. You learn, you get, you learn, you get, and you give as you get, and it's one beautiful whirlpool of knowledge. And in order to get better, you have to start interacting with other artists, pick up on their good habits, learn what a bad habit is. And that's what this community is all about. If you learned something today and this community is helping you in any way, please consider joining as a $1 patron on Patreon. That's $12 a year, less than $12 a year after Patreon takes their cut. And it's just as this really passive support that you can send towards the community. It's always going to be here. I will always be here doing this. I'll never stop doing this. And I really would love you guys to join as a watcher. That's just $1 a month. And it goes a long way. It really gives me the sense of security for this community for the future. My goal is 1,000 $1 patrons. Look out for sales on my store, and please, please, please join us on the community. So there's two parts to the community. There's the subreddit and there's the Discord. The Discord is the more live version of the subreddit, where we get joined on calls together, we watch movies together, but also most importantly, we do little sketch challenges, more like social, relaxed sketch challenges than the full-on community design challenges that we do on the subreddit. So one of the ones that's running right now, so go to community, click here to join the Discord server, is the December sketch challenge. Basically, you're just sketching off a prompt list, and we're just drawing elves. The elves that we're going to draw are basically working off of this prompt list right here. And to post your sketches, you just go to that text channel on that Discord and just share it. And that's it. Tell us about what you designed and why you designed it. Find good references and look out for mine, because I'm going to be joining this one this weekend as well. I'm getting started on my sketches. Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you so much for your pledge, Ang. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.